The Babylon Project was our last best hope for peace. It failed. But in the year of the Shadow War, it became something greater. Our last best hope for victory. The year is 2260. The place, Babylon 5.
Hello and welcome to Chats, the television podcast, Season 6, Chatzylon 5. My name is Alan, and only one human captain has ever survived battle with a Minbari fleet. He is behind me. You are in front of me. If you value your lives, be somewhere else, because Magellan is coming. Hey, put him up, I got a gun. The ultimate deadpan. That's what all the New York Times reviews are saying about my co-host Magellan. He's the ultimate deadpan debonair Derek. Couldn't think of a third D.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, ladies, here he is. He's 7 feet tall. He's got demon wings. He can only speak in tongues. And he's my best friend.
You will die.
Wow.
You will die.
Oh, Lady Morella's over here.
You will read my new memoir.
What's it called?
It's called Growing Up with Demon Wings.
Oh, my favorite type of memoir title is the one that's just what it is. Like, Growing Up Gotti. My last name is Gotti. That's the joke. Did you get it? Growing Up with Demon Wings.
I got it.
I Gotti. Ha! John, how are you? The weather's nice outside.
It's great, man. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling sleepy, actually.
Yeah? Where that? Where that? Where did that?
Where that? What are you asking me?
I don't know what I'm asking
Where
you.
that sleepiness go? Where that?
Yeah.
What that sleepy do?
Yeah.
You know, it's really a good question.
Is it?
No.
Who robbed you of your sleep?
Myself. Actually, you know what? Here's the thing.
Oh, shit.
I slept a fine amount, but I had really wild dreams. I watched the episodes before I went to sleep.
Yeah, you had severed dreams.
Yeah, nice.
Thank you.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
Wow. Yeah, and I had just handfuls of Special K. And so I think all that sugar messed with my dreams. So there was a part in my dream where there's a big pizza on the floor. This is real. And a sinkhole opened in the middle of the pizza.
Whoa.
And everything started slurping into the sinkhole. But it was like a claymation pizza suddenly.
What?
And then I fell in. And it's like that was one of like 30 equally crazy things that happened in my dreams yesterday.
Whoa.
So I had a mentally restless night because I was just coping with this imagery. Yeah. But otherwise, yeah, I'm good.
Sleep is one of those weird things that if it doesn't go well for you, it has the opposite of intended effect. Like if I have like bad dreams, I wake up more like tired and anxious than I went to bed. And it's like, no, I needed that. No, give me it back. It doesn't work. It's not supposed to work like that. I forget how much I slept. I like conked out early last night because I worked, and then I was like, "Oh, what? Oops, gone, disappeared." But I've been trying to get up at 9 consistently, and pushing it to earlier than that to like be, it's fun to do things in the morning. So that has been a struggle for me as somebody who doesn't work every day. Like on the days I don't work, I usually get up way too late. So I'm like, no, I must fix myself.
Yes.
So we're on that 2019 self-improvement, baby.
I will try to fix you.
Coldplay is the connecting thread of the whole Chats multiverse, by the way.
Yeah.
Chris Martin is sort of the Thanos of Chats.
Oh, God.
This is, in fact, Chatzylon 5, the 6th Chats series season. Bleh. Every week we watch 2 episodes of Babylon 5, and this week we watched Season 3, Episode 9, Point of No Return, and Season 3, Episode 10, Severed Dreams. First, we're going to discuss Point of No Return, which was written by JMS, directed by Jim Johnston. It aired February 26th of 1996, and it takes place from April 8th to April 10th of 2260. Magellan, what happened in this episode?
In this episode, Centauri prophetess Lady Morella comes to Babylon 5, even as the station reels from the chaos of a declaration of martial law. Sheridan must find a way to prevent Night Watch from using martial law to take over the station. Alan, what did you think of Point of No Return?
So, upon looking at my notes and stuff, I watched both these episodes back to back this morning, and they kind of smushed together in my brain, but I think I might have liked Point of No Return a little bit more than Severed Dreams, even though like the big stuff that people told us not to get spoiled on happens in Severed Dreams. Point of No Return feels like a very cohesive, just good, politically minded episode of television.
It's a little more watchable, yeah, but not as explosive narratively.
Or action-wise. I mean, a lot of stuff is like talked about, and there's like riots and stuff, but there's not a ton of like shooting. Honestly, the most like intense moment in Point of No Return is when the shitty cop, who doesn't have a name yet, I don't think, the one who's like the quote-unquote head of Night Watch right now, is like, all right, Zach, we're gonna have a meeting later, but also make sure to pack your gun with extra bullets. And it's like very scary. And then Zach's like, hey, you can't just say things like that. What do you mean? Zach Allen, my sweet boy. I almost called him Zach Marcus, which is the most cursed name thing possible.
I like that his characters kind of become the like aw shucks teenage boys just trying to do the right thing. That line where he the unnamed man says, you did the right thing, Zach, and then 5 minutes later Garibaldi is like, you did the right thing, Zach.
He's like, oh,
everyone keeps saying that to me, but I just don't know who really means it.
A lot of people keep saying Zach. Yeah, he's caught. It's kind of interesting if we want to talk about side boys for a sec. Zach Allen versus not versus, but in comparison to David Corwin, because Corwin like is still not a character. I'm not here trying to say like he's become an amazing character, but we see in this episode as. I mean, we can talk about it like as Babylon 5 is under attack and from inside and out. He is looking to Ivanova and being like, I never thought about what I was going to do. I know you asked me literally last week, like, if push comes to shove, am I ready to fight? And I was like, I don't know, maybe. Like, we voted for the president, so I guess he's our president. And now he's kind of like having to grow into an ideology. Whether or not that's radicalization or complacency, we're not sure of yet. But like, he has that, and then Zach Allen is just like having life happen to him from both ends. So it's less about making a choice and more about like understanding your position. And then he does make a choice in the end of this episode, which I liked. It was expected, but it was a good moment, you know, when he finally turns face and is like, "Yeah, cops are bad, and I'm gonna rip this dumb fash armband off."
Yeah,
I'm proud of my boy.
You did good.
We can talk about Londo and Veer briefly, because that is technically the skeleton of the episode. Is while all of this crazy stuff is happening on Babylon 5 between martial law and the Night Watch taking over as security and people threatening them from outside, Londo is informed that Emperor Turhan's third wife, Lady Morella, is coming, and she is or I think he invites her. Is that what it is?
Yeah, he invites her specifically because she can make prophecies and see the future. Yeah.
And he's like, I want to bring her on because I feel like my life's going to go either really well or really poorly soon. And I'd like to know which one, so I should lean into it or not lean into it.
Yeah. He, I think, knows that, or has a very strong feeling that he's going to be emperor one day. And he wants to know if he is getting there by like good means or bad means.
Exactly. And Veer is the one who's like, is this a good idea? Like, is now the time to do this? And he's like, well, no better time. Like, there's no good day on Babylon 5 where she could come on and be like, oh, wow, this is awesome. We didn't get a ton of her, but I enjoyed Lady Morella and her performance. She was in that other episode when Emperor Turhan died on the ship, right? Is that correct?
I don't remember.
I
I'm not
feel like that
sure.
was her with the 3 wives.
Well, no, that was Londo's
It was
3
Londo's
wives.
wives.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, she's
I don't
well,
think we've
she's
seen her before.
basically the plot significance of her is that until I wish I could remember all the Minbari names. There's a lot of Centauri names, excuse me. But the guy who's currently acting emperor she hasn't like committed to him yet in a way that like gives him power. So she technically is the empress of the Centauri for now. And so it's like, yeah, her opinion super matters because A, she has future sight, and B, she can push you in the direction you want to go. So he brings her on, and I like her a lot. I think, yeah, she's just very like my favorite moment from her is when they're walking through the Zocalo, and he's like, yeah, Zocalo, it's from the southern hemisphere of Earth, and it means like place of gathering. And then there's just like a riot, and then like the news is happening, and she's like, I'm gonna go over here, and then Londo's like,
the tour is this way, and she says, yeah,
yes, it is. We're gonna go watch this bar television and see the world blow up.
Yeah, I liked her putting Londo in his place vibe. I don't think that she was the strongest performer, but I think it was good to have that kind of character. I love the status moment after Veer gets a bottle thrown at his head in the riot.
Yeah, he just gets a bottle to the neck. It's wild.
When she's like, get us another rag, or fetch us another rag, and Veer's like, yeah, fetch us another rag. That was fun.
Who amongst us wouldn't do that if you got a chance to tell your boss to get you something? You're like, just take that moment. And it kind of hints at what I didn't like about the ending of this plot line, which is she tells him early on, like, yes, I will give you your prediction before I leave the ship. And then after all this happens, she gives them both the prediction and tells Londo a bunch of stuff like, there's like confirms that Londo needs to save the eye of something. He must not kill the one who is dead, and he should surrender himself to his greatest fear, knowing that it will destroy him. And you're like, oh, cool. These are all things that I'll get when I watch the show later, if I remember them. And then she's like, also, you're going to be emperor. And he's like, cool. And she's like, also, Veer, you're going to be emperor. And me and Veer are both like, really?
Veer's like, come on.
Come on.
It felt like a cheesy parody of Veer. This is what I love about Veer and the way that Stephen Furst, is that his name?
It is.
Stephen Furst does Veer, is he plays Veer huge.
Yeah.
Veer is this like broad, ridiculous character, but it works because he's like an alien. And so he just the cheesiest acting of like, come on, what?
Could it be me? He's very charming and likable in this, and she's like, yeah, but one of you will become emperor.
Hair too, his cute short hair that he has.
Yeah,
he's like thinner hair.
Yeah.
Nice.
His hair is thinning. She's like, only one of you will become emperor when the other one is dead, and just like drops that grenade and then walks out, and like you think, okay. All they need to understand from that is exactly what she said. One of you will become emperor when the other one is dead. She didn't say one of you has to kill the other one, but both of them interpreted it as like, oh, if I kill the other one, then I become emperor. And it's like,
they really weren't listening.
They were not. They completely like spun what she said and were like, oh, in that case, because then the episode ends with this like wild little conversation that's like, it starts out very good and casual where they're just sitting across from each other, and he's like, oh, so Veer, aren't you going to Minbar today? And he's like, no, that's tomorrow. He's like, oh, tomorrow. Oh, yeah.
Oh, Londo, I cooked you something. Oh, I'll order in.
I'm getting Domino's because I think you'll poison me. Like, oh,
but they didn't listen. The first part is like it's going to happen for both of you.
Yeah. But both of them interpret it as like, it needs to happen tomorrow.
Right. And like, I need to kill you to become emperor. But Londo's older than Veer. I don't know, guys. Come on.
Yeah, come on. If this is the start of like conflict, like serious conflict between Londo and Veer, then I'm bummed out.
I'm bummed out too. I also don't really believe that Veer would hear that he's going to be emperor one day and be like, oh, well, now I'm poisoned by ambition.
Yeah, right? But
I don't think he wants that.
The only thing that leads me to think that maybe he wants some sort of power is like when he's talking about at the beginning of the episode, like he's writing them a report about Minbar, and Londo's like, no, you need to write it like they're uncivilized, and he's like, no, I need to write it like it's accurate.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
It feels like he has better ideas for how things should be run, but that definitely doesn't mean he wants to be emperor. I don't think he wants to be emperor.
But he does want things to be different, and maybe he doesn't trust Londo to be a great emperor.
Exactamundo. So, we'll have to put up in that and like keep an eye on it. But I think the other half of the prophecy is more like something to remember specifically, because you can kind of like already see some of it happening. Not kill the one who is dead is like, don't kill somebody who is already like going to die. The whole save the eye thing seems like it's going to make specific sense at some point. And then surrendering to your greatest fear, knowing that it'll destroy you, is just like Buddhist ideology. Like, commit yourself to that which will hurt you and like embrace it. So that it has no power over you is what I read that as. Mm-hmm. So that takes care of their stuff. It is very separate from the rest of the episode intentionally, because they have the privilege of like being ambassadors who are like, oh, we can just go to our quarters and not have to deal with like the chaos outside. Mm-hmm. Whereas everybody else in the episode is like, oh shit, we're out here. We're in a fight right now, basically, with the Night Watch taking control.
Yeah, so what is there to say about the Night Watch? The political office says, hey, they're the security on Babylon 5 now. And so the Night Watch strip everybody of their badges and their guns, unless they join with the Night Watch. So you have this sad scene of every guard on Babylon 5 coming up and Zach Allen saying, come on, Jimmy, come on, Susan. Well, not Susan Ivanova, but another Susan who works on this ship. Join up. We're the band. It's not a big deal. And then Garibaldi, just loses his cool.
They walks in and they're like, Garibaldi, don't.
He has like several one-on-one interactions with characters who are like, I know you're about to make a scene. Don't. Sheridan's like, listen.
Yeah.
Just chill for 5 minutes. Then he says, those are my people down there. Those are my people.
This isn't a game, Zach. This isn't a game.
Yeah, and then Zach Allen tries to stop him, and he yells at Zach Allen, and he's like, well, where I'm going, hell's coming 5 steps behind me, so you better watch out, or whatever he says.
Yeah, nonsense.
Chill.
And you're like, please, just go in. Don't even put the armband on. You don't have to lick the boots of the bad guys. Like, you can just do your work and then, like, make them like you. Kill them with kindness, Garibaldi, please. And he's like, yeah, fine, whatever. He walks in, kicks the door. Not literally kicks the door down, but basically kicks the door down. Is quiet for like 2 seconds, and then they're like, Garibaldi, put the armband on. He's like, this? Poof, flips a table, gets in each individual's face, and is like, Kevin, I set you up with your wife. Tina, I hired you when no one else would hire you.
This scene was really, I don't know, man. There were a few scenes in these 2 episodes that they just didn't quite hit the mark for me. Mm-hmm. And I think honestly for this one, it was like, I don't know what it was. I think part of it was how it was shot, or at least how it was blocked, because we had this like single wide shot of him in the room walking around and like checking in at all these different checkpoints in a way that I think might work if this was a play. I think that maybe would have worked better. Like flip table, talk to Tony, talk to Rhonda, flip table number 2. But
Scene.
On screen, it just feels very robotic in a way that I wasn't sold on the moment, I guess.
Part of like what it is...
It didn't feel like Garibaldi was losing control.
Right, it felt like a tactical move. Honestly, part of it for me was, and I agree with you, that it was like too much. We've talked before about how like Jakar's performance is best when he's like quiet and menacing, and when he yells, Katsoulis, while he is a fantastic actor, like everyone on the show is at least like a competent actor, the main cast, I think. But when you yell, there's a difference between just like yelling and yelling acting. And I think Garibaldi's just yelling here, and it's like, yeah, okay, like you're mad. Okay, you're really he is trying to sell it, but he just kind of commits in a way that feels very artificial, and it feels like I don't know. It, like you said, it doesn't work that well, and it hurts him for like good on Jerry Doyle for attempting this scene, but like nobody can react to him. They're all just like, yeah,
Right. Yeah.
and it's supposed to feel hopeless. Like by the third guy, you already know. I was writing my notes like this is the part where they're gonna send him to jail, and they do, and it goes exactly the way you expect it to. But it's like this is supposed to be a huge Garibaldi scene, and it just kind of like
I just don't think it was
waffles.
directed very well. I think
Right.
that's what it comes down to. I think Jerry Doyle's doing what he can, but it's not blocked or shot in a way that feels tense.
Mm-hmm.
And because you also know, like, like I think Zach Allen literally goes like, "Don't go in there flipping tables."
Yeah,
And then he goes in and he flips a table, and you like knew he was gonna do it.
Garibaldi
Takes
Mr.
all the
Garibaldi.
takes all the tension out of it. So Garibaldi goes off. He gets locked up or whatever.
They just tell him to walk out. I
they
thought they
tell
were
him
gonna
to
lock him
walk
up, but
out.
they were just like, "You can't be here anymore. You don't have authority in here."
Yeah. Then Sheridan has this weird epiphany about what he can do. Because the old guy who like sent him a message was being sneaky about what actually he was supposed to do.
General Smits.
General Smits, yeah. Who sort of he has a look. He has
He
a certain,
does.
like a Mueller-esque look. Yeah.
He does. Louis Arquette is the actor. I wonder if he's like
Kind of like an Ian McKellen meets Robert Mueller sort of look. Yeah.
So that's also appropriate, timely.
It's his vibe.
He is like the father of the Arquette family, so that's actually interesting.
Interesting. Sort of a patriarch, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Patriarchy.
Basically, in the scene where
yeah.
he's talking, he's like, "You have to follow the chain of command. Nightwatch has control. Chain of command matters. All this stuff." And it's the moment you're like, "Man, we get it. This is the umpteenth trillionth time on Babylon 5 that somebody from Earth has been telling you like, we don't have any help for you. Follow the rules." And Sheridan's like, "Ugh, this sucks." But then he remembers the labor episode where he's like, "Oh, if I really follow the rules to the letter, and I understand that guy was telling me like, follow the chain of command to the letter, then actually, I'm getting choked up."
Just thinking about the
Yeah. No, but
how much you loved it.
the Night Watch doesn't have any power because I have power, and the political office is a civilian institution. So he like announces to them. It's so silly. He tells them like they find Zach Allen in his room, and they tell him like, we want you to tell them that we're about to get a bunch of Narn on the ship and they're gonna replace you.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys need to, and then he's like, "Okay, perfect." Tells the security guy. The security guy's like, "Great, we'll take the entire Night Watch.
We'll take everybody.
Everyone. Like, what are you?"
And then when they're all charging in, Zach Allen's like, "Okay, did you bring everyone?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, yeah, I did."
Why would I leave anyone back? That'd be stupid.
What an idiot! So dumb.
I know there's only like 100 of them. I think they've said it's something around 100 people, but like all of them, dude, for this one like ship of Narn.
Not smart.
And so they work with Zach and they lock them in a room basically with metal on both sides. It's like bulletproof. He's like, "If you shoot, bullets ricochet." I read the rules. You have no power because politics don't matter when the military's in charge. And if the military's in charge, then I have power. So fuck you guys. I win.
Yeah, I didn't love it. It's not a good look for Sheridan. When he's super soldier guy.
Reading the book, throwing the book at them is not a cool way to do this.
Yeah, it doesn't make me love him and be like, yes,
Queen.
He found the loophole. Yes,
Queen.
Yes, Sheridan, I love you.
What's a better way to do this?
I
don't mean to like throw the hardest question at you, but I'm doing it.
I think it's a good question. I don't know. I would have liked to see it kind of drawn out more, and like the Night Watch has control for longer, and they do more, and then these, I don't know, Resistance is more of a gradual take back of control.
Right, especially because the reveal at the end is like, also, all of the Narn are here, and they all walk through the door like, hey!
Both of these episodes end with a kind of cheesy, like, the cavalry rolls in moment.
Yep, I hate that shit.
And this first one, it was super dumb because Sheridan's like, and we've got a backup plan. He like leans back and shouts up the stairs, and then the Narns are like, "Dut, dut, 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 dut. Hey, we're here. What's up?" We're the Narns.
Hey, my name's Kevin. I got a gun.
We were just waiting upstairs, the stairs that you came down, by the way, I think. And you're all surprised that we're here. It was cheesy. I like the idea that the Narns are the security, but like, I don't know. And then Jakar. Well, we can talk about Jakar in a second.
Yeah.
But it's just set up in a way that it's weird. Like, it didn't need to be a twist, I guess is what I'm saying. I didn't need this ending to be a twist gotcha type thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
it falls flat for some reason.
There's a lot of ways they could do this differently if it was like a book or like a longer season or something. If they had the time to draw this out more, they could like slowly start inserting Narn into security and then like eventually they realize that they've been taken over. But because this is like a single episode where they decided this is where we deal with Night Watch, they kind of like have to wrap it up in a moment. And it also it serves Jakar's plot in this episode as well. Because he's saying at the end, I deserve to be in the conspiracy of light. Don't you know? Like, I'm the reason you're able to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Please consider. I have time. All the time in the world. And then he, like, leans in and whispers, do you?
Yeah.
And it's like, yikes. Like, Jakar knows. Because he's let out of jail at the beginning of the episode by Garibaldi. Garibaldi's like, you're getting out, bud. He's like, I have 3 more weeks. He's like, you're done. Do you want to stay in here while the world falls apart? And he's like, no, let's go. He's like singing when Garibaldi walks in. Or he's praying or something. Here's
my question about Jakar.
Hell yeah.
Do you think... So, okay. And let's just preview... I want to just preview a moment in the second episode.
Yeah.
Because it adds to this conversation about Jakar. At the beginning of the... So, all the things that Jakar does. He's like happy to get out of jail.
Yep.
He tells Talon the way that we save our people is we like are willing to sacrifice our people or something, and we like join with the humans and get them to like us.
Mm-hmm.
Then he gets the Narn to work as the bodyguards. Then he pushes to be part of the Conspiracy of Light. Then in the second episode, he helps Delenn get the Minbari guy secretly to the hospital or to the infirmary, medbay.
Mm-hmm.
And Delenn has this comment where she says, you know, I think you're a much different person than you were when I met you 4 years ago.
Right.
Do you think that Jakar has had a genuine epiphany in jail? Or do you think that he is still self-serving and manipulative? He's just better at it.
Like, is he still the Gathering Jakar or Midnight on the Firing Line Jakar, where it's like he always has a secret plot ready to screw everyone over at a moment's notice?
Yeah, because it feels like he's manipulating the other Narn right now to serve his own goal of wanting in on the conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel like he's actually genuinely operating in the best interest of his people. It feels like he just wants to be, or maybe he is, I don't know. But it seems like his goal right now is let me get in on this conspiracy. And then this force, if the Narn ally themselves with this force, we're protected.
I think he's just deciding that it's time to choose a side. Because the thing he did in jail and before he went to jail was he spoke to his father in the dream and his dad was like, one of you has to decide to put the guns down. One of you has to decide to like make the decision. And so what conflicts with me there is like him joining the conspiracy and making a stand is not him accepting peace. It's him taking a side in a conflict, actually. So I'm like, like you said, like I'm confused. Like, is that his turn? Is that he understood that like, oh, I need to pick a side? And does that come at the cost of the trust of the Narn? Like just so that he can be on the side? Or is this all a really long play to just like, what does he want? What does he want for the Narn?
Right. I'm just confused about his motives right now.
Yes, I agree.
Because it seemed like when he used the dust on Londo. That seemed like a very personal vendetta that was not about the Narn at all.
Right.
So I'm wondering, like, when he was in jail, did he realize I've been very selfish, and our people have been selfish, and there is a higher purpose or a higher cause that we can work towards,
Mm-hmm.
or is he still inherently a selfish person?
I guess like it'll take a while to answer that.
Yeah, it's an open question that I think we should be thinking about when we see Jakar.
Jakar, yeah, it's like, what's this guy doing? Because it almost feels like desperate how badly he's wanted to join the conspiracy, and it's like,
Right.
do you want to do that because he's like the Kroll Show character who's like, I'm not. Everyone else in the reality show is like, I'm not here to make friends, and he's like, no, I'm here to make friends. I want to be friends with everyone.
Yeah.
Or is he in it for himself, or for the Narn, or for something much greater?
Yeah. And I have a similar set of questions about Londo right now.
Yes,
Because
yeah.
he's wanting redemption, but is he willing to do what it takes to really atone for what he's done and be redeemed? Or does he just want his conscience cleared?
Right.
It
He
seems
made
like what
the choice
Londo
to bring
really...
Morella onto the ship. Like, he clearly he wants something.
Yeah, but it seems like what he wants is to... It seemed like what he wanted at first was for her to tell him that, like, it's out of his control. And she's like, well, no, we all have choices, and you have definitely made bad choices, probably. And then when she reads him, she's like, oh, yeah, for sure. You had 5 chances to not fuck up, and you fucked up twice. Just so you are aware.
You have 1 life left.
You have 3. You have 3 more fuck ups.
Yeah.
So don't, just do it right. And it seems, so my question is similar with Londo of like, has he changed or what?
I wonder because what bums me out is like, does the moment at the end where he's like jokingly worrying that Veer's going to kill him mean that he just still has it in for himself and is still an asshole? Like, what he needs to realize, and I know this is partly because we're huge Veer fans here, but what he needs to realize is that Veer's on his side, and they can work together and like be the best Centauri out there, and like succeed each other as the 2 best emperors. But what worries me is maybe he took that prophecy to mean like, oh, I need to lean further into this military self that I have crafted.
Right.
Because he says like, this is another one of those like frustrating symbolic Londo moments. He's like, ugh, the humans are always fighting each other. This meeting would have gone fine if the humans weren't fighting each other. And it's like, Londo, in a really roundabout way, you're the reason the humans are fighting each other.
Right.
Because you helped the shadows come to power, and they are the reason that the humans are fighting. So like, you cannot detach yourself from any of this.
Yeah, you're a part of this.
Yeah. And I think, the show knows that, but we want to see Londo, redeem himself somewhat, but it might be that he's just like leaning to a horrible downfall. It's possible. This is not like always a hopeful show, I don't think. Not everyone has to have like the best ending.
Right. Yeah. Well, we'll see.
I have a decent amount of stray notes if you are okay with that.
What you got?
Talon, speaking of Talon, Jakar's best friend, when Jakar gets out of jail, he's like, Talon, have you been here the whole time? And he's like, yeah, basically.
I took a day off to nap.
Yeah, to like have just a big sleep, and then I've been standing here waiting for you. Speaking of braver than the troops, the best moment of rebellion is not like Garibaldi flipping tables. It's when they're handing everybody their night watch, like cop things, and Malcolm Cupertino is like, they say his name, and he's like, nope, don't want it, and he leaves, and then Zach's like, come on, Malcolm, come on, be a shitty cop, and he's like, no, and that guy is braver than the troops.
Cool.
Awesome. Easily the best Empress moment. She's dropping all these great lines about how no one appreciates greatness in youth. No one appreciates greatness in its time. And then she says that Babylon 5 has become a memorial to its own work. And it's like, oh shoot, like it really is.
It failed.
Yeah, exactly. She's just basically reiterating it failed. Like, yep, this
song,
is
or whatever.
It's fantastic. There's a scene we didn't talk about that I think might shed a little light, if you'll allow me to be,
please,
pun intended. When Jakar's lighting candles in his room, which is, as we know, a symbol that something good is probably going to happen. That's like what we've been told. I didn't get all this down, but he basically says, like, if we deny the other, we deny ourselves and we cease to exist. The other is, and the other guy asks him, like, what's the other? And he's like, the other is the universe. He's dropping all this heavy philosophy, and then he concludes that, quote, humans are the key. If you turn the key, then salvation is on the other side for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
So that suggests to me that he's using the humans and the conspiracy and this conflict to further the goals of the Narn.
Right.
But maybe that their goals are not military victory, but just like salvation in the religious sense.
Yes, that, I guess, seems like the major difference, is that it's not about destroying the Centauri, it's just about, like, surviving as a people.
Yeah, and then being able to foster, like, new culture and being better people. Speaking of Jakar, there's just that fun moment we talked about before the mics were on, where he walks onto CNC like, I have an idea, and we just get a shot of his fucking boots, and you're like, who is that? Oh my god, it's Jakar! Hey guys, I'm on CNC, what's going on? And then finally, best Narn moment, at the end, Morella is leaving Babylon 5, and Talon is on the elevator, because he's now one of the guards, and he just, like, turns to her, and you just, like, you just see decades of conflict behind them, and they're just like, yep, hi. I'm your security guard in this elevator where I could totally kill you if I felt like it, and no one would be mad. Very funny. That is what I have for Point of No Return. This is the episode, man. This is the episode that the season's named after. Or rather, other way around.
Yeah.
I don't think we have any emails this week because we can't because we're recording ahead of time. We put out the episode like...
It's not
we can't. It's not possible. 7 or 8 hours ago, that episode went up. Oops, we timed it. We dated ourselves. So with that, we're going to take a brief musical break, and we'll be right back to discuss Severed Dreams.
The Babylon Project was our last best hope for peace. It failed. But in the year of the Shadow War, it became something greater. Our last best hope for victory. The year is 2260. The place, Babylon 5.
Welcome back to Chatzylon 5. The second episode we watched this week was Season 3, Episode 10, Severed Dreams. It was written by Joseph Gordon-Levitt Michael Straczynski. It was directed by David J. Eagle. It aired April 1st, 1996, and it takes place from April 14th to April 15th of 2260. Alan, what happened in Severed Dreams?
Magellan, I'm very glad you asked, because in this episode, faced with the threat of an imminent attack from Clark-loyal forces, Sheridan makes the fateful decision to declare Babylon 5's independence from Earth. Meanwhile, seeking apathy back home in the face of the threat of shadows, Delenn makes her own fateful decision to dissolve the Grey Council. So, like, this is a biggie one, kind of, when you read it on paper. This is the turning point. It's funny that the last episode's called Point of No Return, but this is the one that's like, and then stuff happened. Because really, Point of No Return is like, we're going to do a thing. Guys, I swear we're going to do a thing. Here it comes. And then Severed Dreams is like, here's the identity and description of said thing.
Yeah.
I think separating themselves from Earth is one of those moments that we'll look back on like, man, remember when Babylon 5 like declared independence, and wasn't that like a huge amazing moment, and like it really changed everything? Because it comes at you so hard. Like Sheridan blocked by all ends is like, what do I do? What decision do I make? I have to make a decision.
Mhm.
And when he finally does, he makes this big one that feels right now like a good choice, honestly. It's a dangerous choice.
It feels like there isn't another choice to be made.
Yeah. His conversation with his father is very telling. I mean, we can just like bring that up briefly, but
Sure.
right before he makes the announcement to all of Babylon 5, he has a video call with his dad, and his dad's just a nice corn farmer. I don't even know if they specify that it's that he's on Earth. I think he is. Like, probably like Iowa or something. And his dad is like, yeah, your mom's out. She's like stressing out, but she's doing errands and I'm having fun. And he's like, Dad, I don't know if I'm ever going to talk to you again. And he's like, son, I do read the news. Like I have a New York Times subscription. I know what's going on.
Yeah.
He says, what's the first lesson I ever told you? And he's like, Sheridan says, don't start a fight, but
finish it.
Right, and then immediately 5 minutes later, when they're in conflict, is like, we didn't start this fight, but we're gonna finish it. And it's like, this episode does a lot of like saying we're gonna do the thing and then doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because Delenn, I was curious, like, what was she up to last episode? Because we didn't really see her much.
Mm-hmm.
She's like helping a guy at the beginning of this episode, with Franklin and Lanier's help. Jakar like slurps out of the corner of the room, and he's like, "I'm here too," and is like, they're in like a basement. He's like, I also am present.
Yeah.
They basically say that she needs to go on to Minbar and like talk to the Great Council, and then she goes, and I want to talk a lot about this part because I think the Delenn Great Council stuff is like fascinating.
Sure.
She goes on, and the dude is like, Delenn, none of them want to talk to you. What's the actual line?
Reason, I think it's really important, the reason why she's talking to the Great Council, which is that the Shadows are getting all of these smaller... Well, what they're doing is they're convincing all of these smaller worlds to fight each other. And they're playing both sides of it, saying like, oh, we'll help you. And they're not helping anybody, but they're making everybody think that the Shadows are on their side. And then they're diving into like wars all over the place because they're worried that the Centauri are going to conquer them.
Right.
So, yeah. That's pretty crazy.
It's just great seeing the Minbari be like, oh, we can't be neutral in this anymore. Because now there are crosshairs on us. There's crosshairs on our people, on our different castes. We have our whole nice society. But no, it's not going to go well forever. And no, we can't just sit back and, like, as Delenn says to the Great Council, like, serve our own selfish interests forever. At some point, we have to help other people.
Mm-hmm.
And you had mentioned to me before recording that it's interesting that when Clark is like, we're separating ourselves from Earth government, we're taking over, that's like, he's a villain, he's a bad guy. But when Delenn is like, no, F the Great Council, I'm taking control, that's like awesome. I think the basic difference though is like, we know that the Great Council isn't doing anything good for Minbari society. Like sometimes taking charge of the people that you like,
I don't know, man. It's just interesting how this show is picking and choosing. Like, it's bad when President Clark is like a military dictator, but
when Delenn comes in with the guns blazing,
yeah, it's sick as hell.
Yes, and I think they further try to wash their hands by like distancing the main conspiracy of Light Gang from their position as authority on Babylon 5.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Sheridan talks on TVs a lot, and there's a really funny scene, I think it's in this episode, where he's like, guys, everything's going bad. There's martial law on Babylon 5 now. And like, as he's telling them this, there's a huge bar brawl going on, and then like someone breaks the TV that he's on.
That was a really good scene. That was in the first one.
Yeah, it's just like It's one of those like this is easy and like understandable, but I like it moments. And so there's that, but it's like we're not cops anymore. Night Watch is cops, but it's like Garibaldi, you're still head of security in a way. Now you just have your own security, and we replaced it with another race's military people. Like, where does Babylon 5 draw the line? Because I don't know. To talk about the like implications of this season only works if the Conspiracy of Light are good guys and Earth government are bad guys.
Right.
It doesn't make sense if we're like, oh, Earth's working with the shadows because they need help, and we don't know that we don't have the full extent of that because the show's choosing to not show it. But they are choosing to show us, like, look at these people. Garibaldi knows all of the cops. He's a good guy. We like him. He also knows when to fire on civilians and stuff like that, and when to fire on criminals and pull his gun out like a badass. Like, it's still a show about cops being better cops than other guys.
Right.
Or even though, like I said,
whatever.
Sheridan and Delenn and Franklin and company aren't, like, they're authority in name only now, and they're kind of like using that authority in good ways, but they're not dictatorial authority the way that Earth is or the Night Watch were.
Right. It's just like, it's not better at the end of the day.
Not really.
For one person to, what am I trying to say? Like, just because all this concentrated power is in the hand of good guys doesn't mean it's good that we have all this power concentrated in one place.
Yeah, and then what the hell does good guys even mean anymore?
Right.
Because, like, this episode, the big moment is, like I said, is Sheridan announcing that they've seceded from Earth government. But it's like, so what does that mean for people? Like, on a day-to-day basis, is this going to be better for people? It's supposed to feel great. You're like, hell yeah, this is so cool. Like, now we have a, like, defined enemy and a bad guy who we don't have to work for anymore. We're not going to get another Julie on the ship. We're our own, independent nation. But, like, what does that mean? Is the average person gonna still get who writes their paycheck anymore? It's like you now work for Babylon.
Sheridan has that comment at the end of the episode where it's like, yeah, we lost a third of our fighters, and we're not gonna get new ones actually.
Yeah, we just have fewer fighters now.
Yeah,
like this episode decides to put 15 minutes on. Hey, check out these soldiers. Oh god, I found this so boring, dude. Look at these soldiers with basic ass assault rifles running into a room, getting shot, and then falling over, and then repeat for like 5 to 10 minutes. And then we're gonna show you in space, and people are gonna be yelling orders back and forth, and it's gonna be like, oh my god, the average person is gonna die. This also bothered me in the A plot though too, because the A plot is that William Hague's ship, the what is it called again? The Apollo,
the Alexander.
The Alexander is docking, but Higgs not on it. We learned that he was killed, actually, in performing the coup against Earth. Performing's the wrong word to use there, but whatever. So it's this other general guy who's, like, decent performance, I think. But he does that, him and the other guy who he's, like, talking to have that corny thing of, like, no, this war sucks because we know them. Yeah. That's what makes this war different, is we know everybody that we kill.
I mean, it's corny, but it's also... I'm glad they acknowledge that. I don't know.
It's appropriate. It is appropriate that they're like, yeah, we're not fighting faceless aliens anymore. We can't just be like, oh, the Minbari are weird. We don't know them. Now it's like, yeah, that guy you just blew up with the aft cannons. I love the aft cannons, by the way. They're so sick. He had a daughter and a wife. And
our kids go to preschool together, actually.
Yeah. And I have to call them and tell them that we did that. So war is bad. Yeah, it's one way to handle and I'm sure they're going to do this like in so many different ways throughout the rest of the show, but like how does the day-to-day life change in conflict like this? Like what do the average people see and have to do in moments like this? And again, that's just why it's so like not exciting when Delenn, like, it's great that she goes through the Great Council and tells them like you guys are all useless and you're not taking a side and you need to make a decision and all this. And then she walks out and then brings several Minbari ships and just and fires on Earth. Or later they threaten to fire on Earth. And it's like, okay, now we have another like military group of people now. And our guys have bigger guns. Isn't this awesome?
Right. I mean, I think Babylon 5 is a show that we're going to see that kind of fall apart at some point. So I don't think that it's going to maintain this enthusiasm for the this military conspiracy of light forever, but
Mhm.
it's just an interesting moment of like our guns and ships are better than their guns and ships.
Yeah, right. And I said earlier, the aft cannons are sick. Like, and this is the eternal problem of anybody who gets into like Gundam or any mecha is like they want you to think that the battles are cool. That's why the CG looks so good now. Is they're like, yeah, we got to up it because the battle needs to look awesome. But you always need to question yourself and remember, like, well, why does the creator of the show want me to think this is cool? And why do I think this is cool? That these lasers are bigger than the other lasers. I don't know if I'm like galaxy braining the scene here, or what do you think about that?
You know, I don't really want to watch a show where the guns look cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
But
hard to tell
they
how
look so cool.
Yeah, I know. It's just that it's jarring because so much of the rest of Babylon 5 is like not really this like machismo sci-fi.
Yeah.
And it was weird on Farscape too when they would
Mhm.
have gunfights because it just wasn't what the show was about.
Mm-hmm. Open conflict on Farscape often felt like a failure to communicate. It's like, oh, we tried and it didn't work.
Yeah,
so now
I
we
guess
have to
that's
shoot.
the difference. Is like it never was this like valiant, victorious thing.
Mm-hmm. I think Farscape's explicitly an anti-war show. I mean, hey, John
Yeah,
telling both
right.
sides, "I will
True.
kill you both if you don't stop killing each other."
True,
Is
that's
that?
true. Well, so I wonder if Babylon 5 also is. I don't know. I don't know, man.
I just know that the aft cannons are sick, and I should question that. Also, like, I have the dumb like hire more female guards tweet in my head all the time now, because people keep talking about it. But the Churchill is approaching Babylon 5, and we're afraid of that. And then Captain Hiroshi calls, and I'm like, wow, an Asian lady captain. And then I'm like, no, fuck, she's still like a military person. It's not that cool that she's a lady. Like, that's not. My brain does this
Kind of
thing.
cool. It's kind of.
It's a little cool. And then this guy named Rick. This is my favorite moment of the episode, by the way. Can we talk about the
Yes, we can.
ISN stuff?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh my god, I love this.
Another moment that honestly is not executed very well. I gotta be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Like just like Garibaldi losing control, or Delenn yelling at the Great Council.
Yeah.
It's like I can see the outline of this scene. I don't know.
Yeah, of it being amazing. Because
Yeah.
somebody earlier says the reason nobody, like, they talk about Haig being killed, and then the commander tells him also, like, Earth is actually embracing martial law. And then they're like, why don't we hear about this on ISN? And they're like, because they'd get shut down. CNN would get shut down if they actually were, like, that open about being anti the government. And Earth Force is now bombing Mars. So Hiroshi comes on the ship, and then we're watching ISN, and it does this cool cinematic thing where we're watching it through the TV, and then, like, in a snap, we're watching it in the newsroom.
Yeah, that's cool.
I like that a lot. And then this guy, Rick, well, like, the lady's talking, and then this guy, Rick, is like, excuse me, Tina, get out of the way. Everything you're hearing about on Earth is a lie. The rebels are coming. I heard them downstairs. They have guns. Oh, God. It's corny, but I like it. Hey, Babylon 5, guys.
Same.
Like, of course this jackass comes on the thing, and he's clearly competent, but he doesn't talk fast enough to say the words he needed to say.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, right when he was gonna say it, the guys come up and they shoot the camera, and wow, that's so unfortunate. But there's just something about, like, we've seen ISN so much throughout the series. It's such an important institution for people in space to, like, understand what's going on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
But then to see it, like, and acknowledge that, like, hey, they're not just doing that freely. There is consequence to them reporting on this news.
Right.
And choices that they have to make. It's like,
that was cool.
That has smarter things to say about the news than literally all of the newsroom. All of it, the whole show. Yeah, I have the line here, by the way, from when Delenn goes to Minbar. The guy goes, I told you they will not speak to you. And she says, well, good. Then they will listen to me.
Yeah, that's good.
And I agree that scene with her talking to them is like not the best, but it is funny because remember in season 1 when we saw the Great Council and I was like, how do they walk out if it's all dark? Like, do they have to go one by one? And they do it again.
Yeah.
When she leaves, they're like 1, 2, 3, 4. Like each one goes out in turn.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
That scene, I'm not sure how I felt about it in retrospect. I think in the moment when she yelled at the dude who was guarding, that was there were a few moments in this episode where I was like, fuck yeah. And that was one of the moments where Delenn was like, the dude picked me. I should be your boss. So get out of here. And he's like, yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
That I thought was cool. When Sheridan is like, hey, we're seceding from Earth, I was like, fuck yeah. But then there were just moments that, I don't know. Delenn yelling at the Great Council should have been
amazing.
So sick. And it, again, was like weirdly shot, where it was just a wide shot of her getting in the face of these people one by one, and they're not reacting at all because they're just dudes behind shawls.
Yeah, it is. It's funny paralleling that to Garibaldi being like, these are both characters yelling at people who can't react to them.
Yeah, it feels like the same scene, basically, and it's kind of garbled in the same way.
It flubs, it sort of flubs in the same way.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, I think this episode's incredible on paper. Like this episode in theory and in memory is going to be so good.
Yes, I think it's going to be. We're going to think of it as like an essential episode.
This is the season where we're finally embracing like talking about the recap before we even get close to the recap. We already know what's going to be an absolute dumper. We know what's going to be an essential. Like we got this. Yeah, so then, like I said, Delenn comes and saves them right at the end before Babylon 5 doesn't make it. And then everyone's like, we got to collect troops and recover. Garibaldi broke a leg. Ivanova suffered injuries. We're fine. Delenn and Sheridan have a cool romance moment where she's like, I save you, what do you call it? My partner. And then he's like, "Aw."
And he kisses her hand.
It's kind of like a lot, but I like it.
That was a little stilted. My partner kissed the hand. They should have just made out.
Oh. I don't know about that.
I mean, he literally said, when I saw your face on the screen, it was the best moment of my life.
That's true. Also same.
That should have been Kiss City. When she showed up, it was also a fuck yeah moment.
Yeah, that was definitely a fuck yeah moment. And he's like yelling on the comms, like, you. The thing that I called you I said to you at the beginning, where it's like, you. Only one human captain has ever. What is it? Has ever survived battle from my fleet. He's behind me. You're in front of me. Ugh, good shit. Yeah. I have. Oh, and then we talked about this again before recording, but the final shot is everyone being like, I guess we're doing okay. And then there's a Night Watch poster behind them that's like torn and ripped up.
Oh my God.
And you're like, that's a really good symbol. Wow. Yeah. And then the camera's like, no, you're not looking. You're not looking. I need you to stare directly at it. It's like, no, stop. We zoom in on it.
I got it. I got your thing you were going for.
Fascism lives to fight another day. You don't need to beat me over the head with it. Like this whole episode is about like, the bad guys don't stop. Mm-hmm. You don't just. I think a lot of Babylon 5 is in fact about like understanding that you don't quote unquote beat the bad guys. You carve out your own existence despite them. Mm-hmm. So that moment is just like. I always bring up the T.J. Eckleberg shit from The Great Gatsby. Where it's like, do you get it? Do you get it? Mm-hmm. But that's not the fault of the book. That's the fault of English classes in America. Whatever. I have some stray notes for this one also. I got lots of stray notes this week. The episode starts with Londo talking to an exhausted Rando who does not care about what he's saying. Yeah, that guy's performance is incredible. Give that man an Emmy because nephew. Yeah, it's just like, so Peter Jurassic is just going to like talk to you. Don't listen to anything he's saying.
Do that thing you do where like somebody in line, if this was, just act like this was real life and kind of nod and be like, yeah.
What? Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, yeah? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Londo fails an ID check because he's being outwardly racist to Narn, and then the guy checking him is a Narn. He's like, yeah, you thought we're stupid? We are. It's going to take me 2 to 3 Earth hours. Hilarious. Mm-hmm. I liked speaking of like small moments that worked, when Delenn leaves to plead to the Great Council, she's like, Lanier, you're in charge. And just like the affection between them is so good. dude. Because we've talked about it before, but like their relationship is not romantic. It's like deeply, deeply respectful and like familial in a way that I love.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I just thought that the Len hand kiss was like hilarious, but I understand it. Oh man, yeah, it's a big one. Like we can't. I say this every time. I'm ready to be owned by my words, but we can't possibly have another filler episode after this, right? Like we can't.
You know, Alan, I don't know. Honestly, it could go either way. I'm opening the summaries right now. You want to know?
What do I want to know?
Do you want to know if the next one's a filler or not? Do you want to know the episode summaries of what we're watching?
Do you want me to know? Do you want to tell me what we're watching next week on Chatzylon 5?
Yeah, I do. All right. We are watching 2 more episodes of Babylon 5, of course. First, we're watching Season 3, Episode 11, Ceremonies of Light and Dark. When Babylon 5 officially declares independence, Nightwatch terrorists kidnap Delenn. Londo acts against Centauri aggression.
Oof.
Yeah, it probably actually spoiled a bunch of stuff right there for you. Sorry, bud.
That's okay. Well, the first one kind of, it's fine.
You try to stay clean.
Okay. Well, okay. Go ahead.
The second episode we're watching is Season 3, Episode 12, Sick Transit Veer. Veer causes controversy by aiding the Narn without authorization. I feel like we should just stop reading these summaries.
Yeah?
Yeah, those are big. Those are big spoilers.
It's a Veer episode.
Yeah.
Do you actually want to stop reading summaries? I'm down. I get that.
Oh no. I'm fine with it, but usually the summaries are so bland and not revealing anything, but those I feel like revealed everything just now.
Yeah, well, I think it's hard to summarize anything in these later episodes without being like a thing happens to a person you know.
Right.
The description, the first sentence of the finale is Londo's political status changes, which is like, oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, so that's what we have next week. Ceremonies of Light and Dark, we're actually going to have a guest on for that.
Ooh.
Indeed. So, be excited for that as much as we are excited for that. This episode will be coming out after we were at PAX East, so hopefully you said hi to us and partied with us. And stay tuned next week for more of that stuff. Let's take it to the plug zone, Magellan. Let's do it.
Sweet.
If you would like to contact us at the sunny Chatzylon Studios in bright and shining Sacramento. Ooh, you always say Brisbane.
Have I said Brisbane before?
Multiple times.
Wow.
Sacramento, California. We'll give it up.
That's where my grandma lives near.
Huh?
My grandma lives near Sacramento, California.
Shout outs to her.
Yeah.
You can email us at chatspod@gmail.com. You can also tweet at us at chatspod, where you can hear about episode stuff, and I sometimes post GIFs that I make. Consider rating us on iTunes. We love that. We really, really could use your help. Also financially, if you would like to donate to us, head over to patreon.com/chatspod. It is there that you can give us a little, just a little squirt of money a month. Just inject a little bit of currency into this dang pod that we work so hard to produce. At $2 a month, we will in return give you a monthly commentary track where we watch films. And at $5 a month, which really isn't that much. That's like a coffee a month. You get
come on
Chats
now.
Nights. Come on, please.
Come on now. Spend a day miserable.
With the Chats boys.
Yeah.
You can listen to Chats Nights where we have fun. We actually just planned out our PAX East in the last released episode. So.
Yeah, so if you want to hang with us there.
Yeah, hang out with us.
Or
tell us stories.
if you want to listen to what we planned to do and wonder if we did it.
And then we'll listen to sax breakdowns and anime theme songs.
Yeah.
Good shit. Magellan, what's your chatting for this week? What's your little snack, your recommendation for the kids?
You know, I'm not really much of a shopping guy. I don't really buy clothes I think, people have their different forms of retail therapy. Mm-hmm. For me, my version of it is going to the local bookstore and buying books that seem cool that I would like to read. And this time when I went to the local bookstore, I got myself a GRE test prep book
Mm-hmm.
because I figure over the summer I should be prepping and taking the GRE in case I want to apply to grad school. But that's not my Chatsum. My Chatsum is to balance it out cosmically, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I also bought 2 Mad Libs and a book of stickers. And, you know, that's shit's still good.
That's shit still good.
That shit's still good. You want to do a Mad Libs here?
I was going to say, can we just do Mad Libs?
Yeah. Do you want to do one out of Give Me Liberty or Give Me Mad Libs or Teachers Rule Mad Libs?
Oh, teachers rule Mad Libs, please.
All right, let's do Teachers Rule Mad Libs. Okay. Let's see.
Yeah, good page turning audio,
All
ASMR.
right. This one's called The Dog Ate It. Okay.
Good.
Give me an adjective.
Spicy.
Okay, plural noun.
Bombs.
All right, adjective again.
Fishy.
Silly word.
Moist.
Okay, a noun.
Sponge.
Another noun.
Bottle.
An animal.
Hyena.
Okay, a past tense verb.
Climbed.
An occupation.
Dog walker.
An adjective.
Erudite.
Another adjective.
Disillusioned.
Oh, it's better as an adult, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Plural noun.
Arrows.
Okay, a noun.
Computer.
Okay, another plural noun.
Books.
Okay, number.
60.
All right, and a part of the body.
Thumb.
Okay, ready?
Yes.
Here we go. Mad Libs. The dog ate it. As a teacher, I hear a lot of spicy excuses about why my bombs don't turn in their homework. Here are the top 5 most fishy ones of all time. 5. An alien from planet Moist landed in my backyard, and when my sponge asked me to take out the garbage, I got sucked up into the bottle ship. 4.
Mm-hmm.
My pet hyena ate it, then climbed it up, then ate it again. 3. I'm running for Dog Walker of the United States, and I had to work on my erudite campaign speech. 2. On the way home from school, a band of disillusioned pirates looking for gold arrows insisted I turn over my backpack or walk the computer. 1. I was too busy breaking the world record for most books eaten in 60 minutes while balancing one on my thumb. Or while balancing on one thumb.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Oh, that's exactly why they don't do sad libs on Mabim Bam anymore.
Because you didn't think that was funny?
No, because we do it better.
Oh, I gotcha. Anyway,
We
get
shut
yourself a
them
book of
down.
Mad Libs. Get yourself a book of stickers. You're gonna, get the joy. I mean, how much is a Mad Libs? It was $5, you guys. Give that money to Chats first, and then
Patreon.com/chatspot is my chatsum.
yeah, and then get yourself Mad Libs.
Mm-hmm.
What's your chatsum there, guy?
Guy, kid, son,
Yeah,
slun.
Sloan.
Majon, sometimes in the morning, I bring my iPad to the kitchen and I drink my cup of coffee with a little biscotti and I read an article.
Very, very metropolitan.
Mm-hmm. I've always said that about myself, that I'm very metropolitan.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, sometimes I read articles. I check the front page of my various news websites, and I stumbled on this article from a couple days ago called "There is no reason to cross the U.S. by train, but I did it anyway."
Okay, sure.
It's a very modern thingy. It's by Katie Weaver. It's for the New York Times. I'll link it in the episode description.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, yeah, she talks about how nobody needs to use Amtrak anymore because it's like over expensive and every other method of travel is faster and cheaper. But, Amtrak bills itself as like the thing where you can look into people's backyards and see like what's going on in the US on the ground, and like you can really enjoy the country from a different perspective by exploring it by train. And that's how they sell themselves. And so she took 2 different Amtrak trains from New York to Chicago and then Chicago to LA, and talks about the experience of like the really shitty bed situation and the different types of people that she ran into and the sights that you see and whether or not it's actually worth it. I mean, spoilers, kind of seems like it would be fun to do once, but you would never like.
How much does that cost? Does she say?
About $1,000
to Amtrak, and that includes she's on the train the whole time.
Yes.
Never gets off the train.
Well, she got off at Chicago and then like had a break in Chicago, but that was it. So just like the 2 tickets being like extremely long distance, is like you could cross to a different country on that money. And not to like spoil the article, but this, what's up?
Well, no, I would take a bunch of like short trains and like,
oh yeah, that's the
like
right way to do that.
String together people I know, along the way.
Yeah, and you can make it more enjoyable that way and like split the cost a little bit too. That's a good point. But she's kind of doing it to be like just to get there. The point is like the journey and the destination.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to like I said, I don't mean to spoil the article, but it kind of concludes that like, yeah, it's a weird thing to do, but you should. It's interesting that this whole like world exists and you can see all these different trains and this like kind of outdated technology still exists and is still somewhat thriving on itself.
When I worked
it's a
in
good
Sacramento
read.
for a summer, I would Amtrak from there to Stanford to see my Stanford pals. It's fun, and I've Amtraked from DC to Boston before. It's
man,
yeah, it's a different experience. I think it's cool. I think that we should have more trains and better, faster trains and no planes.
Whoa. I love travel. That was kind of what spurred me into this. It was like, oh, you tell me that you went somewhere really far in a unique way. Like I'm already in. You've already like sold me. But yeah, the whole like there are better ways to do this. I agree. If they made train travel cheaper and more comfortable for people, I would probably consider it. But it seems nice now. The other thing that's like fascinating is she kind of finds like a peace in it. Like the understanding that like I'm gonna get there. Everyone here knows they're gonna get there. No one's in a rush because there's no way to make the Amtrak go fast.
Can't go fast.
Yeah, so we're just kind of like, I guess I'm here, and this like liminal space between your destinations is great because planes are all about like get me there, minimize suffering, place me on the ground.
Yeah, or not minimize suffering necessarily, but concentrate suffering into one pill that I can swallow.
And then close my eyes and wake up somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like we have all these magic ways of transportation, but then we just also have this old one that is like interesting in itself.
Right.
So check that out. And again, thank you very, very much for listening to this episode of Chatzylon 5. Peace.